So to understand the timeline you're in, sort of, okay? There's people early on that knew, such as the true Protestants that came here, what the Protestant church is now, worldly, all worldly, okay? This was the abomination of desolation, the original St. Peter's Basilica that was on top of Peter's bones. Peter the Apostle during Constantine's days. So this was the abomination of desolation. So if you look at it from that point of view, an abomination of desolation is in it's mentioned in Matthew. It's also in the Old Testament in Daniel. It's in Matthew. It's talked about when you see this take place. So when you see the abomination of desolation spoken about by the prophet Daniel standing in the holy place, again, Peter, all the apostles, the original apostles, received the Holy Spirit at the same time. The Holy Spirit was, you are the church then, okay? So then when you go building your abomination on top of Peter's bones, because you're the Roman Empire and you're just trying to, control Christianity still. And that's why your history has nothing but persecuting real Christians. Then you know it's the abomination of desolation, okay? Then let those who are in Judea flee to the mountains. Let the one who is on the housetop, it goes on and on, okay? For then there will be great tribulation, such has not been from the beginning of the world until now. No, and never will be. And if those days had not been cut short, no human being would be saved, okay? So basically the tribulation to follow, okay? And it did. Because the Roman Catholic Church started heading out in through Europe and everywhere else with their inquisitions, with their crusades, destroying anybody, speaking heresy. And what did God do? Well, God raised, just like he raised those apostles up with the Holy Spirit, those Protestants raised up, okay? Catholic Church started, exterminating them. They never wanted the Bible put in English, started exterminating any, somebody trying to put it in English. Then you get all the way to England, okay? After its overthrow, its wars, this abomination has caused more wars in the world than anybody. Then you come to this. So I have this, it's a panoramic book, but I'm going to zoom in because people here knew. So I want to show you, because they have this timeline based on the 7 letters to the 7 churches. So after the abomination of desolation there in Rome, and then that was bigger than anything the world had seen when they started going through Europe, just conquering land, killing, hundreds and thousands of true Christians, okay? Because of claiming heresy, burning people at the stake. Yeah, everybody wants to carry on that King James I was burning people at the stake. You better look at that abomination there in Rome, okay? They were doing far worse than that. They were doing that and far worse, okay? You got the Inquisitions, you've got the Crusades, you got the taking over of land, taking over of kingships, persecuting the true followers of Christ, mainly the Protestants, okay? What they are today, forget it, the churches are worldly, okay? So you got to remove that because God said that would happen. But that's where America comes in. Yeah, that's where America comes in. And early people knew it. They knew it. But that's how you know all the churches got infiltrated. This is why when you start building the structure of the church, it'll be taken over by that abomination or other abominations that just do the bidding for that same abomination, okay? So anyway, but the early founders knew they were being led here by God. The Scottish Covenanters, the Pilgrims, the Presbyterians. They knew. Those 16th and especially really 17th century, the 17th century knew they were being led here by God. But it all unfolded exactly very much the way that, Revelations plays out. You had these people like thank God for King James the First, okay, because he knew what Rome was. That's the reason he had experts that got rid of all the popery propaganda and just stuck to first century writings. You'll hear a ton of people say, oh, he removed this, he removed that. Yeah, he removed the propaganda that the Pope had put in because they just created their own thing. So, but anyway, the Protestants come here, and they knew one of the first cities they named, of course, was Philadelphia, because they knew America somehow had to fit into all of it. I mean, it would, right? I mean, every other country in the world is, you can tie it, if you look in history, somewhere to the Bible, but America just kind of hangs out there, but it doesn't. That's where it comes in here. But see, none of the churches wanted you to know that, but the early founders did. They knew. That's why, and it's why William Penn named Philadelphia in Pennsylvania, Philadelphia, based on the church that everybody says was to Asia Minor. But again, that letter doesn't fit, because that church in Asia Minor did fall. But that's where this panoramic book comes in. Because each of the 7 churches, Ephesus, Smyrna, and you can see they have them up here, okay? I'm going to go across. They have at all the way down here at the very bottom, the apostolistic, the apostle days, okay? Then they have here, AD is at 160. I can't quite see it because of the recording. Okay, so these are all the churches that were in Asia Minor, but they're saying down here below this line where it was lining up in history. And then what do you know? There, yeah, Pergamos, AD 313. Between 313 and 380, it's when it's estimated that abomination of desolation was placed there on Peter's bones, okay? Then you have over here the Dark Ages, okay? Because it was the Dark Ages. Why was it the Dark Ages? Well, because you had the abomination of desolation claiming to be Jesus, okay? And Jesus said there would be many of these people that are going to go out saying that they're my name, they're in my name, and they aren't. And they killed Protestants. They killed anybody that wouldn't align with their abomination. All through the Crusades, Inquisitions, all through Europe, everywhere. Again, that abomination of a church has killed more people in the world than any country. So that was the Dark Ages. Then you get to AD 15, okay, that would be the Sardis church. And what do you see here? Down at the bottom, 1750. I think that was actually when the Scottish Covenanters came. This book was made in 1970, but you see Philadelphia. So they knew it. They knew it. And this is the last church. I know it's cut off, but for the last church it says last days, meaning the last days of the wicked. So this whole timeline is these 7 churches, and I just showed you the timeline. And yet, what does it show here? Abomination of desolation. Looks like the Pope, right? Yeah, because people knew it. I'm telling you, especially the people that came here. The Church of Pergamos in Book of Revelations is considered Satan's throne. Yeah, abomination of desolation, okay? It was thought Satan's throne was thought to be located. Jesus expressed strong dissatisfaction with the church's tolerance of false teachings and moral compromise within its own congregation. Specifically, Jesus was unhappy that the church allowed members to follow the teachings of Baal, who led God's people and enticed them to eat food that was sacrificed to idols and commit sexual immorality. There's 3 churches out of the 7 that God is not happy with. Pergamos is one, Thyatira, I'm not sure how to pronounce that, and another. But Philadelphia, he's the most happy with. And yet somehow, back in the 17th century, they understood, probably because the Holy Spirit was letting them know, now we have stupid people, a lot of stupid people.